of the Follow-Up Podcast. I'm Eden, this is my dad Noah, and every week we sit in my bed and have a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week we're going to talk about our trip to Washington, D.C. So this was the first time I've ever been, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What was so fun?
Just seeing everything in D.C. There's so much history, and this is where everything in our country happens. Laws are made. All of the government's there,
mm-hmm.
and it's so cool to just walking around. You're seeing all these buildings where all these things are happening that you hear about in the news and everything, and they're all just surrounding you. It's cool that all of that's in one place.
Mm-hmm. So you like seeing when we stood outside the White House.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the White House lawn. Not only are you thinking, wow, that's where the president is, and so many presidents before, and everything that happens in the White House. That's the White House lawn where the reporters stand when they're talking on the news.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. You recognize that scenery. That is pretty neat. Okay, so we got in Friday night. We spent about 36 hours there, tried to do as much as we could for your first trip, just to see a lot of things. So we got in Friday night, Saturday morning, breakfast with your grandparents, Uncle Max. That was great. And then American History Museum was our first stop. We got there right when it opened, 10 o'clock. What did you like most?
That was awesome. There were multiple things I really liked. I really liked there was the Star Spangled Banner, but the one that was the inspiration for the song, which was amazing to see. It is humongous.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might even be bigger than my room, or maybe about the same size, maybe
huge,
bigger.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Lincoln's hat. It's amazing they still have that.
From when he was assassinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
honestly, I wasn't expecting to look like that. It was kind of like a copperish color, I guess,
mm-hmm.
and it looked like a tin can.
That's what I thought. And it wasn't
like a brim.
And it wasn't very tall.
No, but I think they make it look tall because Lincoln was tall.
But just seeing that hat, the hat he was wearing when Lincoln was assassinated, it's so wild. It was right after the Civil War had ended, and it was.
And that was so long ago, and it's still preserved.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
And I loved the First Lady's gowns.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. They had all these really pretty dresses, and from all of these different First Ladies, and I think it was really cool to see over time how the styles have changed,
mm-hmm.
and what they were wearing. I don't remember how far it went back.
Yeah, back to the 1800s.
Yeah, back to the 1800s compared to just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and what were there any certain gowns that stood out?
I thought Jacqueline Kennedy's yellow dress, and she had a pearl necklace. That was really pretty.
That was beautiful. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I also really liked seeing the original Grover.
Uh-huh.
Who wasn't even blue.
Or Dorothy's shoes.
Dorothy's slippers, yeah, but and also the original Cookie Monster is there. The original Cookie Monster puppet. Yeah.
The Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, right. An early Kermit, an early Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy was all dolled up.
What we didn't see was the original Barbie, but we'll go back and see it.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was wild to see an iPod in a museum, because that was from when I was in college. I can't. It's hard for me to fathom that stuff is in museums now, because I don't feel that old. But I thought some of the music artifacts were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They had even just seeing Babe Ruth's autograph. I haven't seen Babe Ruth's autograph very often. The whole experience was very, very cool, and so many of the presidential artifacts, like Dwight Eisenhower's golf clubs, I thought were neat in his golf bag.
Yeah,
all of that was very neat. Okay, so from there we had lunch.
Yeah,
and then took a big loop. So
yeah.
What did you like when we saw a lot of things from the outside?
The White House, we got to go to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I touched the Washington Monument.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love that you can see the Washington Monument everywhere. And I also did not know that when Washington Monument was built, it was the tallest structure in the world.
wow.
I know
I
that.
don't know that either. The Lincoln Memorial.
Right. So we walked up the steps into the Lincoln
Yeah.
Memorial, the Gettysburg Address, his second inauguration speech, but going up.
Like the big Lincoln.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what size his shoe is. It was huge.
Yeah, and that you see this on money, and then there it is.
Right.
The Lincoln Memorial,
And,
and then the
you
view
see
from there.
pictures, but then it's like, wow, that really exists.
Mhm. Yeah, this giant figure, and being able to look out over the reflecting pool
Yeah.
from there and see the monument, see the Washington Monument. And then in that area, in that monument, we didn't go over to the Jefferson Memorial, but we walked through the World War II Memorial, but then also walking through the Vietnam Memorial was, I mean, I thought that was pretty powerful, just
Yeah.
you to see every single name. And just the sheer number of names
Right.
is really difficult to fathom.
Yeah.
And that's why when I remember when we walked out and you can see all those names and everyone's surprised as you walk through, I remember saying to you, you see all these names. This is why war is the last option. This
Right.
is why you can't just say, well, let's just go to war.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
because
why
this is what it leads to.
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what it leads to. I mean, sometimes it's necessary, but okay. So then we end up back at the hotel, and then we went to
The Sixers game.
Sixers Wizards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Mo didn't play for the Sixers, who I worked with for a long time, but we got to spend time with him after the game,
Yeah.
which was a huge highlight, and the Sixers won.
Yeah. It was an exciting, even though the full game wasn't too exciting, the end of the game was really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
With the Sixers really needed to score, and it was crucial timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And what stood out to you at the Wizards at the Capital One Arena?
Everybody was a Sixers fan, and there were like 5 people with Wizards jerseys on, but they were like on the what's it called, the jumbotron. They were showing people multiple times because they didn't have enough people to show.
I never experienced anything
They
like
showed
it.
one person like doing something for like a minute, and then they showed someone else, and then they showed that person again for like a minute.
I've never
It
of
was
all
crazy.
the arenas I've been to, I've never seen anything
Like
like
some
that.
people were even wearing Eagles jerseys because they wouldn't wear a Wizards jersey.
Well, no,
Or
because
they
they're
were
Sixers
Philly
fans.
fans.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. But what I'm saying here is that they're not wearing Wizards. They will wear anything except a Wizards.
Yeah, and when we like even 2 weeks ago when I was in Utah, that arena was like the opposite of what we saw in Washington. It was so loud, jerseys everywhere. It was
like
it was
everybody's
awesome.
in Utah jerseys.
Yeah, but there were a good amount of Sixers jerseys.
Yeah?
But the Utah fans, they sell out every night. It was
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. That was a pretty cool.
It sounds like
experience.
a great atmosphere there.
Oh, it was. It was awesome. Okay, so then this morning we woke up and went to the Spy Museum.
Yeah, that was so much fun. You had like an undercover mission you had to solve,
Mhm.
and you had to like look for the different things, create a disguise. That was a lot of fun, and then also just seeing what spies over the ages have used, like tools, like a glass eyeball to change their eyes. I thought that really stood out to me.
Yeah, all the changes in technology, things that they wore, things that they used.
There was like someone's disguised kit that they would carry around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm really fascinated by what spies do that would help the government sniff out attacks before they happen, because those aren't the ones that we hear about all the time. So reading about some of the attacks that
We didn't hear about.
some of the attacks that were thwarted, I'm fascinated by that. And then the misses of like why certain things didn't happen or why things did happen. But then also, like, if you think about what a spy goes through and just what, at the very little video that we watched, and then you see, I mean, you're basically living a full-on life of secrecy.
Right.
I mean, no one knows what you do. Like your kids don't know. You don't.
Right.
It is a life unlike anything you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
So when you came out of there, did you think, yeah, I could risk my life every day? And Be a spy?
Yeah,
No.
no. Yeah, no.
No. Okay, so whenever we go back to DC, what do you think you'd want to see first?
That's hard. That's really hard. Maybe the Air and Space Museum.
Air and Space. Okay. I'd also like to go inside the Capitol.
Yeah. Oh, you can?
I'd also like to go inside
I would
the
love
White
to
House.
go inside. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If
I'd
we're
also
able to go in.
I'd like to go to the Supreme Court steps also.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the way you were seeing it too, and especially now you're starting to study more about the American Revolution and all of the decisions that are made there, and like everybody in DC is political.
Yeah.
Like you're
Like,
just every conversation is political.
And there's no regular building there.
No, it's all government.
Everything's this law building.
Or Department of this, Department of that.
Department of this, Department of that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. We're recording this at halftime of the Super Bowl, so we're gonna go watch the halftime show right now. And yeah, I'm glad you had a great trip.
I did.
Good. Love you.
Love you.